Yesterday, we reported that Jurassic World had taken the #1 spot at the box office again for the 4th week in a row, while Pixar's Inside Out had become the highest-grossing film of all time to never be at #1. Well, you can throw that all out. The weekend box office results have been adjusted, and Inside Out ended up coming in at #1 with $29.8 million, compared to Jurassic World's $29.2 million, a difference of less than $600,000. John, do these results actually change anything?
They actually, yeah, they kind of do. I mean, from 2 points of view. One, Jurassic World, I mean, they're going to cry all the way to the bank, but I mean, Jurassic World was now #1 for 3 weeks in a row as opposed to 4 weeks in a row. Okay, so there's that. And you can have now Inside Out, which is still my favorite film of the year, by the way. You have Inside Out that can now say it hit #1 at the box office. That's great. However, to me, I was on the phone with a representative from Disney yesterday, and they were like, hey, and don't forget to mention his show tomorrow. You know, Inside Out actually is #1. I'm like, are you happy about that? And should you be happy about that? Because remember, yesterday we were talking about how Inside Out broke a record that I honestly thought would stand forever, which was my Big Fat Greek Weddings record of the highest grossing box office of all time for a film to never hit the #1 spot at the box office. It's like $260 million domestic, some incredibly sick number. And I said, you know, it seems like that's a really cool thing you can put on your mantle. That's a pretty cool thing, other than we managed to eke into #1 in our second week with like 20-something million dollars. Okay, that's nice and everything. It's like, yeah, lots of guys have 3 home run games, but how often does somebody hit for the cycle? Yeah. And you just took away hitting for the cycle. I thought it was more interesting that way, but whatever. Mark?
This is monumental because it totally takes back my point of making this the Scottie Pippen of movies yesterday.
Right.
Now I can't think of a sports metaphor anymore. It's like, I don't know, but it is good for Inside Out, I think, and it does make a difference because I think you'd rather be #1 once. You get to be #1 at the box office over Jurassic Park as opposed to just limping on, because my Big Fat Greek Wedding was awesome because it was such an underdog story. It's an independent film. Not a lot of people were aware of it before it came out, and it just
even
kept
the story
on
about what
tubular.
Tom Hanks and Tom Hanks' wife
Rita Wilson,
what they had to go through just to get that movie made is an incredible story.
Right. This thing should be It's a Pixar movie. It's a crime against humanity if it doesn't hit #1 at some point. You expect it to do big numbers, so I'm glad it is, and it gets some of that recognition. Again, we're talking about $600,000 measly dollars, which, you know, amongst us gentlemen is going to be how much we drop on my birthday lunch. But it's nice that Inside Out finally gets to put the #1 crown on its mantle.
Yeah, this changes the commercials on TV is all it is. It's the guy hits the button, goes, the #1 movie in America. That's the whole, like, okay, you can release that commercial now. But I actually agree with John.
Oh, it's #1, Marty. We should go see it now.
We've been waiting for weeks.
This family does not see #2 movies at the box office.
Well, it's hit #1 now, precious. I think that you're right, though, John. I think it's a cool record to have. Because, you know, it's going to continue to be in the top 5. It's going to be in there for a little bit. It's the only movie for kids to see right now, for families to see right now. And there was something kind of cool about we're not #1, but we're still one of the biggest movies of all time, and we don't have to be #1. But it's $600,000, and the one bragging right is if you want to say, yeah, well, guess who we beat? Jurassic World has been beating everything, a monster of a movie, you know. So there's
in its 4th week.
Yeah, but I mean they're still in their third or second.
Third or second.
So that's just only 1 week apart. So to be able, and a kids movie, that's an accomplishment all itself. So it's like one of these. You can go negative or positive.
Right, but there's also a kids movie that's coming out in the next week that is going to be #1.
The Gallows.
So the Gallows. Okay, kids, enjoy. Actually, the Minions have a gallows-like scene in that movie. But yeah, I mean, so Minions is definitely going to be #1, maybe for a couple weeks or at least until Ant-Man comes out. So you want to have that. Hey, we were #1 too. You weren't the only animated film to be #1 this summer.
You know, but at least I can go back. Well, let me actually throw this as a question to you guys. I, for a long time, have always believed that My Big Fat Greek Wedding is a record in the box office books that would never fall. We've had a very weird, perfect storm of events with Jurassic World far exceeding expectations, with Inside Out coming out of the same. Do you think that Big Fat Greek Wedding record will ever fall? Like, remember, $260+ million and never hit #1.
You're saying ever, so I would say yes, because we don't know what ticket prices are going to be like in 10.
Let's modify. Within the next 5 years.
Until the San Andreas quake hits.
The reason why I say yes is because of the amount of just comic book movies that are coming out in the next 2 or 3 years with all DC and Marvel movies. There's going to be another movie in that time that's released during that period that could just be doing well, whether it be like a Kingsman or a Mad Max or something that just keeps piling up and people want to see it, but
never hit number one.
Never hitting number one because they're getting pounded by. Because remember, there are going to be some times where DC movies and Marvel movies are out around the same time and are going to be eating the box office. Yet there'll still be that movie that people want to see that probably hit the 2 and 3 and rotate back and forth. It's possible. I'm just saying within the next 5 years, I say it might happen.
And also, if there's a family movie that comes out around Christmas, one of my favorite shows to watch is Jedi Council, and they keep talking about this Force Awakens movie. So that thing's going to be a juggernaut. That could be number one for a while. If another fun movie comes out around Christmas that just keeps eking along, that could take the record. But I think it'll be a while before you get to. I mean, $240 million. That's a lot of money for never coming in number one.